So a new Scream movie has just come out, and you're here because you want to know if it's worth your time. Is it different enough from the other ones that make it worth your hard-earned money going down to the theater and checking this film out? Well, I'm here to tell you that it depends. In this film, essentially, Sidney is living out her life with her husband and her children, and Ghostface decides to rear his head and yet again attack not only Sidney, but this time her family. And on top of that, Ghostface is using AI technology to deepfake himself through FaceTime calls that cannot be traced by the police, presenting themselves as different people from Sidney's past to try and get in her head and fuck with her, all the while trying to figure out how to get a hold of her and kill her once and for all. That's essentially the gist of this movie. It's Sidney and her daughter trying to survive yet another onslaught attack from the Ghostface killers. I don't want to spoil too much here for you. You just have to go and check out the movie or spoil it for yourself online, but it will not happen here. And essentially, I'm a giant Scream fan. I want to say I'm a Ghostface fan, but really at the end of the day, there is no Ghostface the way that there is a Michael Myers or a Freddy Krueger or a Jason Voorhees. It's always somebody different, so I can't just necessarily be a fan of one specific iteration of somebody playing Ghostface, even though I do think that Billy Loomis, Stu Macher are the best of the people under the mask. But I do love the costume of Ghostface. I love the brutality of him. I love the meta commentary on talking about movies within these movies. I love that Ghostface himself is a fan of movies, and I just love watching the brutality of Ghostface in these movies. The kills are always so much fun. It's what draws me back to these movies. I did my own Scream fan film on one of my other YouTube channels where I play a version of Ghostface that I had a lot of fun making. This franchise has left a very big impression on my life, so I am an easy sell for this movie. If you just give me Sidney Prescott battling somebody dressed up as Ghostface with a great reveal as into why they want to kill Sidney, I'm pretty happy. So like I said, I am a very easy sell for this. So when I walked out of this movie, I did have some thoughts. And firstly, I want to start off with the good, and that is Ghostface himself has some great kills. When he is there and he is scrapping with somebody, the kills are brutal. They're violent. They don't shy away from the blood and guts. They definitely deliver in that aspect. And there is a lot of kills. I think this movie has one of the higher kill counts in the franchise that I've seen. I lost track somewhere about halfway through the movie. They introduce a lot of teens in this film, so there's just a big list of people for Ghostface to kill off, which was always nice. No one wants to watch a Scream movie where there's only like 3 deaths in it, so they're there and they are fun when they happen. Sidney is great as always, and it is very refreshing to bring her back. Now I know that the only reason she is back is because Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega were no longer here, so they needed to scramble to do something to get people to want to show up and see a 7th film, especially after the bad taste in everyone's mouth after they were fired from the last. Well, Jenna Ortega wasn't fired, but she left after Melissa Barrera was fired. So they scrambled, they brought Sidney back, and she's as great as ever. I mean, I just love her. She is the best final girl in my opinion, and seeing her instantly puts a smile on my face as Sidney Prescott. But she's not alone here. She also has the help of the girl playing her daughter, which carries a lot of the weight on her shoulders. She is the girl, I don't know her name, but she was in 1883 as the daughter of John Dutton's great-grandfather, or whoever it was that was the main character in that show. I can't remember the guy's actual name, but she is like the narrator of that show, and I thought she was remarkable in 1883, and she's remarkable here. She is a great final girl. She gets her own chance to throw down with one of the ghost faces towards the end. Her and her mom, and this is my favorite point of the movie, get to do like a team up moment against a ghost face, kind of like Iron Man and Pepper Potts in Avengers Endgame when they go back to back and they're shooting the chest cannons. They get their own badass final girl moment together, and it was my favorite part of the movie. It was really well done. Like I said, the fight scenes are awesome in this film. The movie also looks great. It was filmed really well. There's not a lot of shaky cam. When they show you the kills, they don't shy away from it, which is something I hate that horror movies do. They show you the kills, and it's really satisfying. I also really enjoyed the idea of the deep fakes. I thought it was really smart to try and get in her head by showing her people that she's lost from the past, and a really inventive way to kind of spin the plot along in ways that I don't want to spoil, but I just thought that the AI was used really well, and it's also really relevant because it's something that's happening in our world today where the deep fakes are getting way too good with the use of AI, and I just thought that it was brilliant here. And in a world where it's getting harder and harder to find new ways to keep the formula of Scream feeling fresh, this was it. They found it, and I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with an 8th one, if they do in fact make an 8th one. But let's move on to the bad. And the most glaring problem is you do feel the fact that Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are not there anymore, because even though they had a happy ending in the last one, they were definitely setting up a 3rd one with them to complete the arc of Melissa Barrera's character, who's kind of a psychopath, where she was seeing visions of her dead father, trying to convince her to become the next Ghostface, essentially. It was a really interesting direction that they were taking her character in. And like I said, you feel their absence here. It feels like they are missing. And they do have a throwaway line talking about the New York killings. That's the only time you ever hear of it, and they never address them again, which I thought was weird. Gale is in it, and so is the two twins from the last ones, but they are severely underutilized. Gale does have an amazing moment when she first reveals herself in this film that had the whole audience clapping and cheering, and it was really awesome. But then after that, she's kind of just relegated to nowhere. You don't really see her again after that, and then you don't see the twins that much either after they get an initial confrontation with Ghostface about halfway through the film. They're kind of pushed off to the side to give Sidney and her daughter a chance to shine, which is fine, but when you have these two people, the twins, as the only not surviving, but they're the only people to make it out of the Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega movies into this new direction that they're going in, I just wish they gave them something more meaningful to do, but they were really kind of wasted. Another problem I had with this movie is Ghostface himself in this film, he does kill people, but he's lacking something that Scream 5 and 6 had with their Ghostface. And look, I'm a huge supporter of 5 and 6. I really enjoyed 5. I thought it was really inventive. Dewey was my favorite character, and he was also in that one. But 6 is my favorite, actually, funny enough, outside of the first one. I love the brutality of Ghostface in that one. Like, it was visceral and it was feral, and you could feel the passion and the rage behind that Ghostface, and he was picking people up by their neck and slamming them into walls, and he wasn't as much of a goof as the other Ghostface were, where he would trip over his own feet or over a chair or something. He just felt really brutal and like a physically imposing, scary character, almost like a Jason Voorhees that was unstoppable. And although the Ghostface in this one does kill people, he doesn't feel as visceral and as, I don't want to say violent, because again, he does kill people, but he doesn't seem as imposing. He seems more like that klutz again that kind of just gets lucky with the way that he kills people. And whereas in the last two, I always thought that Ghostface was kind of menacing when he was coming at people, in this one there was really no menace to it, if I'm being honest. He kind of just rears his head and attacks and then gets defeated quickly and then goes into hiding, and there was no visceralness to it, and I really missed that from the last two. I also really missed the New York setting. They brought it to, I believe it was Texas in this one, and I'm from New York, so that's just a little bit of bias, but I really did want it to continue going that route because Ghostface on a subway is just so awesome. But by far the biggest disappointment of this film, which is also the most crucial in a film called Scream, is the reveal. The reveal itself I thought was really bad. It was not earned, and you just don't care about the motives behind the person that was doing what they were doing. Everything they were doing was cool, but the motives behind it, it's always something so well thought out, like an Agatha Christie movie where in the last one it was the father of someone that was killed previously in one of the other films, so you could feel that rage behind all of the killings when the reveal happens. Like, you understand why they're so mad and why they were so aggressive and why they want to kill the main character. But here, when the reveal happens, I was like, the fuck? This is dumb. It's like they had a good writer writing the whole thing, and then that guy was sick that day when they needed to write the ending reveal, and then they hired somebody that has absolutely no idea what they're doing to write that one section. And if I left the movie with that last part in my mouth, I probably would say that I really didn't like it. But they quickly pivot and give us one of the better fight scenes that we've ever had as a final showdown between the main character and Ghostface. The final showdown between Sidney, her daughter, and Ghostface in this was remarkable. I was on the edge of my seat, and there's a moment between the two of them, like I said before, that is one of the standouts of the entire franchise for me. Just the way they go about doing what they do is so brutal and so raw and so awesome that was the thing I left the theater feeling. So they saved it at the very end, but just barely. Look, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm an easy sell for this franchise. Although I didn't like the reveal and the motives behind it, I thought the use of the AI was cool. I love Sidney. I love the girl playing her daughter. I love watching them work together to try and outsmart Ghostface. I love watching Ghostface kill people brutally. And I love the Agatha Christie of it all, where you're sitting there trying to guess who it is and why and what their motives are. Like, we're detectives watching these films. So overall, I did walk away enjoying this film, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I really do hope we get an 8th one, and maybe they bring in a new writer to kind of make it feel a little bit fresher, because the writer of this one knew how to make a great, like, thriller. He just didn't know how to end it. He just didn't know how to land the plane. And with a franchise like this, that is the most important part. It didn't feel like it was well thought out and intricate and like there was passion behind it. It just felt like a very lazy, half-assed way to do a reveal of who the killer is. And they definitely need a new writer for the next one. But what say you guys? Are you excited for this film? Has my review swayed your opinion on whether or not you want to see it? I would love to talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you next time.